You should never use sensory tools or sensory activities as rewards, and you should never remove them as punishment. These sensory tools that we've talked about today and sensory strategies we talk about on the podcast are all designed for regulation. And if we use that as a reward or we remove it as a punishment, we're not helping our kids regulate their nervous system.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Jessica, and this is All Things Sensory by Harkla.
We are both certified occupational therapy assistants, and together with Harkla, we are on a mission to empower parents, therapists, and educators to help raise confident and strong children of all abilities.
On this podcast, we chat about all things sensory, diving into special needs, occupational therapy, parenting, self-care, overall health and wellness, and so much more.
We are here to provide raw, honest, and fun strategies, ideas, and information for parents, therapists, and educators, as well as other professionals to implement into daily life.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey there, welcome back to All Things Sensory podcast. We are so happy to have you here. I'm Rachel.
I'm Jessica.
And today we are talking about our favorite tools for our autistic clients and children who have autism. We have some favorites that we're going to talk about today.
And we're going to answer a listener question at the end.
Always. Yes.
Trying to catch up on those.
Yes. All right, so let's jump into it. If you are a parent of an autistic child, if you are a therapist and you are working with autistic children, if you work in a classroom with autistic children, maybe you're like, hey, we need some tools, we need some products. What's new? What's fun? What do you recommend for helping their sensory systems grow, learn, develop, thrive? What you got for us? That's what we're going to do.
Yeah, the first one is noise-canceling headphones. And I think going along with this, we could have just over-the-ear headphones for listening to music as well. Noise-canceling headphones are great for our kids who get easily overstimulated by too much noise. When they go out into different environments that are loud, they can use the noise-canceling headphones to just dim it down, and so it's not as overstimulating. And then when listening to music, like a therapeutic listening program or just their favorite music, using the over-the-ear headphones can be helpful because that also helps drown out other noise. And sometimes they are more comfortable. They provide a little bit of proprioceptive input, which can be regulating to the nervous system.
I actually did just come across an Instagram account where the creator made noise-reducing sweatshirts that has a hood that reduces some of the sound. And I was like,
how, like,
I don't know how
about it?
Maybe it's thicker. I'll have to look into it. Maybe we can link it if I can find it again. But I was like, oh, that's really cool. I like that.
That is interesting.
And, you know, probably weighted as well. I don't know. I'm just saying it should be if it's not. But yeah, a hood, even just like a hood, can be helpful in reducing
noise,
sound and noise and overstimulation. Okay, number 2, a sensory corner. This isn't necessarily one product, but this is something that can be really helpful, especially for kids who have sensory processing challenges or who are oversensitive to sensory input. We can create a little safety corner for them. We can have maybe a tent. We can have something cozy. We can even have like a big box or bean bag. We can maybe have like a bubble tube in there, some sensory strategies, some fidgets, some things to squeeze, some sour spray, really whatever is going to be regulating for the child, just having a safe spot for them to escape to and just regulate their emotions a little bit better inside of a little sensory corner.
And this can be really good for our school age autistic kids because they're at school all day and school is very overstimulating. Socially, there's a lot of expectations. And so then your child comes home and they have a complete meltdown. Having a sensory corner already in place, ready to go, is the perfect opportunity for them to decompress after school.
Yes, definitely.
Next are weighted items. So things like a weighted blanket or a weighted lap pad, a weighted vest, weighted compression vest. What other weighted objects are there? Weighted stuffed animal.
Weighted neck things, like a neck, like it's like a neck warmer, but it's like a weight that you put around your neck. They even
Almost
have
like
weighted hats
the
too.
airplane pillows almost. Yep. Yeah, weighted hats.
Yeah.
Yep. Really, the idea behind using weighted items is that it provides deep touch pressure. It's a form of proprioceptive input, and it's calming and regulating to the nervous system. So for our autistic kids who do get easily overstimulated, maybe car rides are difficult, going to and from school, they can use these weighted items during those transitional periods, and it could be helpful.
Yeah, we do have a customer who's, kind of now a friend who shares on Instagram every car ride she takes her son on. He's autistic. He uses the Harkla weighted animal. And so he'll have that on him while he drives in the car.
Yeah, it's his little stuff. It's like his little stuffed animal.
It's a little stuffy. Yeah, so it's a great tool. Yep. Okay, the next one, sensory Chewy tubes, basically anything to provide oral motor input, proprioceptive input, things for them to chew on, zipper pulls that have Chewy tubes that you can attach them to, pencil toppers, necklaces that you can chew, things that you can safely provide children who have oral seeking tendencies and who crave that proprioceptive input orally, giving them a safe outlet for them to chew on things. There's a ton of products out there now. The Ark Therapeutic is one of our favorite brands. I did recently come across the Buzz Buddy, which is like a Z-Vibe alternative, and it's, similar. It's the oral motor vibration tool. But just
how does that compare to the Ark Z-Vibe though?
It's a little bigger. I like it though.
Do you have one? You did get one?
I did get one.
But like if you had to choose one, which one's better?
I like the Buzz Buddy because of the batteries. It uses like a AAA battery versus the smaller like choking
like
hazard
the watch batteries.
Yeah. And I feel like I think that the vibration sound is quieter with that one too, but like some of the attachments are a little bit too big in my opinion as well. So like pros and cons, like there can't be a perfect one out there, of course.
Sure. Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, even the bite and vibrate teethers for babies are great for kids who are like biting and like craving input that way, because it bites and it bites. They bite it and then it vibrates and it provides them that feedback too.
I love those.
Yeah. Yep. I wish that they made an older kid version of that,
Yeah, where it wasn't as like baby looking. Yeah, that would be helpful.
Yeah, let's get on that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Add to the list.
Next product. Next are tunnels. So these could be pop-up tunnels, DIY tunnels using blankets and chairs and tables, Lycra tunnels, like the fabric tunnels are great. Really, a tunnel is designed to get your child on the floor and crawling. And we know how important crawling is for primitive reflexes, for bilateral coordination. It's a very grounding, heavy work activity, and you can incorporate it into your child's play routine. I use tunnels in therapy all the time. Every day that I'm there, I pull out a tunnel if it's not already out. And just getting your kids on the floor crawling is a great way to help them regulate their nervous system.
Yes. Next one is a crash pad. And I know you're probably thinking, yeah, right. Like we're not going to get a crash pad in our house. And before you say no, I'm not necessarily saying get this giant, huge crash pad and put it in your living room. That would be great if that's what you want to do, but you can also make crash pads. You can get a duvet cover and fill it with blankets and pillows and stuffed animals, and you can fill it up with all the things that you want and make your own crash pad that way. Or you can just take the pillows and cushions and couch cushions and blankets and everything off your couch into your bed and make your own crash pad as well, and then put it away when you're done. So having a crash pad is great because it does provide sensory seekers with an opportunity to get that deep pressure, get that vestibular input, get that crash that oftentimes they're craving in a safe and effective way. And it's just a great tool to have in the clinic, at home, at school, if you have a sensory room at school too.
Yeah. I mean, a beanbag works great.
A beanbag's great.
Yes.
Yeah. One of those giant ones. What do we have? We used to have a chill sack. Is that the one that you have?
I don't remember the brand that we have, but it's from Amazon.
Yeah.
And it's great. Yeah. Next is sour spray. And I think we could include any type of like sour type of food item on here, because we want something that's going to like wake up the mouth, which then, helps wake up the brain and the body. Sour spray is such a great tool to use for our kids who are oral sensory seekers, but it can also just be really great for regulation, almost like resets. whatever's going on. So you can use it as a regulation tool. You can add it to the sensory corner. You can have it in the car, whatever you want.
Yeah, love sour spray. The next one is a fun one, actually. This is the Jungle Crawl book, and this is actually a book that I wrote.
Shameless plug. Is that what that's called?
Apparently. I mean, I guess it's in here. Yeah.
It's in the outline that we wrote.
It's in the outline that we wrote. I mean, I forgot about it, honestly, until just now. I was like, great, let's talk about it. No, but this is a book that I wrote. It's a children's book designed to get kids crawling and moving and jumping, and it's playful and it rhymes and it explains primitive reflex integration. It explains how to do the movements and why you should do the movements. And I mean, really, every child should be doing these movements, and the book just makes it a fun way to participate in doing the activities.
It's great. I have it at the clinic.
Oh, great. Yeah. See?
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. You added the next one, so talk about the next one as well.
The next one is the Bilibo chair, and the Bilibo chair is fun because it is like it looks like a little turtle shell, and there's a lot of different ways that you can use it. And again, our sensory seekers love to sit in it and spin. It's got like a really firm, I mean, the whole thing is like a firm plastic bucket, but you can sit and you can spin in it. You can turn it over. You can sit in it, use it as a chair. You can jump over it. You can put your toys in it and pull your toys around. So there's just like lots of fun ways that you can use the Bilibo chair. And it's just like an easy way for kids to get sensory input that doesn't require a ton of it doesn't require like a huge swing attached. You know, you don't have to put a swing in or, you know, a sit and spin. It's just like a little bucket and they sit in and they can spin, and
could be really good in the classroom.
A great option for the classroom. Yeah. Especially like preschools, like at circle time, you know, for a kid who's having a hard time sitting in their spot or on their circle spot. They can sit in it, they can sit on it, and just kind of keeps them contained, but also they can like wiggle back and forth and spin and
potentially
move. So there you go.
The next one on our list is kinetic sand, but I'd also include really any messy play, tactile input. What I've found is that many of my autistic clients have tactile sensitivity, so they don't like to get messy. So incorporating messy play activities into the routine can be helpful to teach their tactile system how to process different types of tactile input. And you do this in a play-based way. You follow their lead. You use other items that are motivating. So if your child really loves cars, then you're going to drive the cars through the messy tactile play. You know, allow your child to wear gloves if needed to be able to engage with it, and that's a good starting point. Use utensils and scoops so that they don't necessarily maybe have to touch it, but they can scoop it and they're still interacting with it. But really the goal with this is to address the tactile system, especially if it's oversensitive.
Yeah, and if they don't love the texture, don't not do that again, right? The goal is to give them exposure to it so that way they learn to process and modulate it, but we're not forcing them to do it. We're giving them the utensils, the gloves, those modifications as needed. But let's say we use shaving cream and they absolutely hate shaving cream. It's not like we're never going to show them shaving cream again. We're just going to continue to play with it, and we're going to model, and we're going to have a great time with it and say, this is cool. I really like it. Maybe you will too. Maybe not. That's okay. But this is what it is. And we can provide that exposure to it.
Yeah.
But we're not forcing them.
Yeah.
I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Okay, next one, bubble tubes. Bubble tubes are fun, especially in the clinic setting, especially in the school setting, because they have fun light features. You can change the lights. They have this really mesmerizing bubble pattern that floats through the tower. And they're just really organizing for the visual system. If you don't have a bubble tube, I think you can DIY these too.
Oh, for sure.
I'm not a DIYer in that regard, but I'm sure that it's on Pinterest and you could probably find a way to DIY it.
I'm sure that it's like oil and water.
I'm thinking of like the ones that you plug in though.
Oh, you're talking about the electronic ones?
Yes, that you plug in and there's lights and the bubbles and it's, more
I was thinking the ones
automatic.
that you just turn.
And those ones are great too, where you put you can put the water beads in, you can put the oil, the water and turn it over and have that too. Even the bubble timers are fun.
Yeah.
Really whatever is motivating for your child, it's a great thing to have in the sensory corner as well.
Yeah, for like a visual tool or toy. Yep. All right, there's one more. You also put this one on the list, so you talk about it.
I like this one. This is the Whisper phone. I don't know if you're familiar with this, but it's a little, in my head, I'm visualizing it. It's a little red phone, and you put it up to your ear, and you can hear exactly what you say. It kind of like it's like a microphone, but it like microphones it back into your own ear so you can hear exactly what you're saying.
Our speech therapists will use these a lot.
Speech therapists will use them a lot, but it's a fun way to help promote development of functional communication, sounds, imitating fun sounds. I just think it's a really cool tool that is great for all children, especially our autistic clients, because they can hear what they're saying and they can have fun with it, and it just gives them instant feedback of what they're saying and the sounds that they're making and all sorts of fun things. So
yeah, that feedback is really important.
It's really helpful. Yeah.
No, we did have a question within one of our digital courses. This was in our sensory diet digital course, and this was from a therapist who's working with autistic clients, and I thought this would be a good place to put this in. Therapist said, should we avoid making sensory activities a reward? Some autistic kids are very motivated by rewards. And the answer that we have is you should never use sensory tools or sensory activities as rewards, and you should never remove them as punishment. These sensory tools that we've talked about today and sensory strategies we talk about on the podcast are all designed for regulation. And if we use that as a reward or we remove it as a punishment, we're not helping our kids regulate their nervous system. So yeah, we don't want to use them as rewards.
It's like if you were to take away my fidget while we're podcasting, it would make it harder for me to focus on podcasting. So it's not.
Or if I only gave it to you.
Yeah.
If you did well.
Yeah. Yeah. It would stress me out, right? Yeah. So we have to think about that for our kids. I mean, these are just regular strategies that they are struggling with, regular sensory processing abilities that they are struggling with, and they need extra help in order to succeed. So why would we take away that extra help?
Yeah. What I will typically do is when I'm working with autistic clients who have that ability to understand emotions, and we've started to work on that, we'll talk about sensory strategies to help their body feel calm and happy. We'll use the zones of regulation. And then instead of using, like, say the client loves to jump on the trampoline and because it's regulating for them, I'm not going to use the trampoline as a reward for that client having followed my instructions. It's going to be more like we make a visual schedule and they go through the 2 adult structured activities, and then the last thing on the schedule is their choice of whatever they want. Even though I know they're going to choose the trampoline because it's one of their favorite activities because it's so regulating. I'm not saying you can only jump on the trampoline if you do this first. It's more like you can have your choice of whatever you want after we do these first. That's how I would use it or do it.
Yeah.
Using a reward system. And it doesn't even seem like a reward at that point. It's more just here's our visual schedule, here's what we're doing, my choice, then your choice. And that's just how it's structured. It's not like a reward system, really.
Yeah. And you can always use the sensory strategies proactively, if
you should.
Exactly. If you have a client and you want to work on handwriting eventually, and you jump on the trampoline first, and then you crawl around the room, and then you do some medicine ball slams, and you do some swinging, and then you go and sit down at the table. It's almost like the handwriting is the reward, right? But for them, it's probably not. But you're at least prepping their body and their brain and their nervous system to get to the handwriting task. It's not like we come in, we're immediately going to just sit down at the table the entire time. It's like, well, that's uncomfortable,
Yeah. Sometimes I struggle with rewards because I feel like when we set our kids up with reward systems, it's almost like we're teaching them to be people pleasers, where we want to actually teach them how to have that like internal or intrinsic motivation versus seeking external rewards, which can be hard because I do know a lot of kids who are really motivated by that external reward system and that praise from the adults. And so that can be tricky sometimes. You just have to be creative.
Definitely.
But never using sensory tools as rewards. Definitely not.
Yes.
Or withholding them. Yeah.
Are we going to go over the second question?
Yeah, I think we should answer a listener question because that wasn't really a listener question.
Yes.
That was just something inside one of our digital courses that I thought was a great question to talk about.
Okay.
Especially for this episode where we're specifically talking about autistic kids.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Okay, so we do have one more listener question that we are going to run through. It's a bit of a long one, so hang with me as I kind of shorten it a little bit, but
good luck.
My 4-year-old is in VPK,
I don't know what that is.
I'm assuming virtual pre-K.
Oh, maybe
not virtual, maybe just pre-K, and will not stop hitting, pushing, and kicking at school. Not virtual if they're at school. Okay, great. Good context there. This started in her 2-year-old class with biting, and thankfully she isn't doing that anymore, but she doesn't seem to be growing out of the physical behavior phase. She has excitement aggression. It's not always when she's angry. Sometimes she gets so excited that she just hits you. I mean, I can relate to that because what do I do when I get excited?
All the time.
She's super smart and articulate, outgoing, plays soccer, has no issues starting new activities with new kids. She didn't check any of the maybe ADHD in infant and toddler items. And it really is primarily a school issue, which makes me think she's overstimulated at school. We've tried positive reinforcement charts, treasure boxes, treats, etc. We started small. We have one good day at school with no problem behaviors, and she gets a prize. I made sure that it was something she wanted. A coworker of mine suggested some OT interventions. Any thoughts? I too agree and feel like it could be an overstimulation issue, or she gets excited and she wants to like feel something but doesn't know what to do, doesn't know how to like show her emotions in an expected way. Probably a probe seeker, maybe a vestibular seeker. I like that the aggression isn't just when she's, I don't want to say I like it, but it's helpful that the aggression isn't just when she's angry. It's more of like, I'm excited. And
yeah, she's having big feelings.
Outlet.
Yeah, she's having big feelings, and her big feelings come out through hitting and pushing with her peers, because that's when she feels so excited, or when she feels angry as well, is in those social situations.
I almost feel like a sensory story would be helpful here. So kind of like a social story where you kind of walk through in first person what the situation is and how you respond, and some strategies that you can use. A sensory story is more of like a social story, but with sensory strategies in there. So when I feel excited, I like to hit my friend. I like to scream. I like to jump. That can make my friends feel frustrated and upset. So next time I feel excited, I can jump up and down 3 times. I can push a wall. I can squeeze my hands together and give her those appropriate or expected sensory outlets that she can do. And it takes practice, and it takes teaching her and almost like giving her that script of what she can do in those situations, because she is so smart and articulate, and she's not having trouble like starting new activities, and it's not happening elsewhere. It's mostly a school issue where the lights are really bright. They're probably fluorescent and flickering. She's probably not having enough sensory breaks at school. She's probably not getting enough outdoor time, and that's just causing a lot of built up tension in her body. And she's like, what do I do with it all? So if it were me, if this was my kid, then I would sit down and have some of those conversations and kind of role play through those situations.
Doing it before school could be helpful, like in the car on the way to school, talking about it. Make sure the teachers are on board. Maybe she has one at school, like the sensory story at school, that her teachers can maybe teach the whole class.
Yeah.
Like that'd be a great circle time for the whole class, like a quick 2 to 3 minute role playing little story time.
Yeah. Yeah, and even if she wanted to use this as an opportunity to teach her classmates, and I feel like kids are always so much more reinforced when they get an opportunity to teach. Like, hey, this is my sensory system. I feel a little bit wonky when I get excited, and sometimes I hit. I'm sorry about that. I'm working on, doing this. If you can help me and remind me, that would be great too.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. She's 4. That's a lot to ask for a 4-year-old.
Yeah, so. I do think, in-person OT is always a great route to explore.
When in doubt, rule it out.
Yeah. So absolutely get an OT evaluation.
Yep. Yeah, it could be some sensory concerns that they can help with.
Yep.
Okay, great. We hope this episode was helpful. This wraps up our Occupational Therapy Month, our Autism Acceptance Month.
Oh, it does. That's right.
Yeah. Yes. So we appreciate you being here and helping spread the word. Don't forget to send this episode to someone who could benefit. Share this. Tag us on Instagram and share the love, and let us know that you listened and you found it helpful. Or if you have any other favorite products that you want to share too, we love hearing your recommendations and things that work for you. So let us know.
Did you ask them to subscribe and
no, I have
give
not
us a review?
Them. No.
Okay. If you could subscribe, leave us a review. That would be so helpful. Thanks.
Yeah. Okay. We'll plan on seeing you next week for another video.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to All Things Sensory by Harkla.
If you want more information on anything mentioned in the show, head over to harkla.co/podcast to get the show notes.
If you have any follow-up questions, the best place to ask those is in the comments on the show notes or message us on our Instagram account, which is at Harkla_family or at All Things Sensory Podcast. If you just search Harkla, you'll find us there.
Like we mentioned before, our podcast listeners get 10% off their first order at Harkla. Whether it's for one of our digital courses or one of our sensory swings, the discount code SENSORY will get you 10% off. That's SENSORY.
Head to harkla.co/sensory to use that discount code right now.
We are so excited to work together to help create confident kids all over the world. While we make every effort to share correct information, we're still learning.
We will double check all of our facts, but realize that medicine is a constantly changing science and art.
One doctor or therapist may have a different way of doing things from another.
We are simply presenting our views and opinions on how to address common sensory challenges, health-related difficulties, and what we have found to be beneficial that will be as evidence-based as possible.
By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical condition in either yourself or your child.
Consult your child's pediatrician or therapist for any medical issues that he or she may be having.
This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the podcast.
Thanks so much for listening.